What's up, everybody? Welcome into A to Z Sports Picks. Brian and I are going to have a great show for you this Friday. Get you all set up for the betting weekend. Brian, my man, looking good, buddy. How we doing?
Oh, thanks, buddy. Doing well. Let's talk some bets and ball games.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you and everybody. Had a little bit of an emergency here. We're getting a little late start. I appreciate you all bearing with us here, and it's totally on me. But you know what? We're going to make up for it. Have a great show, everybody. Welcome in A to Z Sports Picks. I'm Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline, alongside of Brian Edwards, VegasInsider.com. A to Z Sports Picks brought to you every Tuesday and Friday by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. New users, download that BetMGM app. Make sure that you do it. Use promo code A to Z 200, 200. All right, a $10 money line wager on any basketball game tonight wins you $200 in credits if either team hits a three-pointer. That is BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older. Must be present in the state of Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So, Brian, we got a lot to get to. We're going to jump right into it. First segment here. I want to know your best prop bet or prop bets, however many you might have, for the NFL this weekend.
All right, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow's passing yards over 290.5 yards. He had 446 passing yards against Kansas City in Week 17. So that's one of them. And then our friends at BetMGM are offering a one-game parlay with a couple of props, and it pays plus 280. But you have to have three things come in. Burrow has to throw for 250 yards or more. Jamar Chase has to have 95 yards receiving or more. And Jamar Chase has to have one touchdown, but in any way. It can be rushing, passing, whatever. So that's Burrow 250 passing yards or more. Jamar Chase 95 yards receiving or more. And Jamar Chase any sort of touchdowns. If all three of those happen, it's a plus 280 payout. And I will note that Jamar Chase had 266 receiving yards in the first meeting. And the other one, again, was Joe Burrow over 290.5 passing yards.
Nice. I like it. All right. So I'll tell you what. I've got a decent amount of prop bets this week. All right. So I'm going to go through them really quickly. But, yeah, I love this slate, both games. I think we're going to have the opportunity for really strong ones. All right. First one. I'm going Jimmy Garoppolo and Matthew Stafford. They're both throwing an interception Sunday. They're both doing it. All right. In head-to-head games this season, we've seen both of them throw multiple picks in both games. It's going to happen again. I'm going to play both of them. You can parlay that if you want. I wouldn't suggest it. You run the risk. I like playing both quarterbacks here because we're definitely getting at least one, but I think we're going to get two on that one. All right, second one, Joe Burrow, over 38.5 pass attempts. I think we're going to have a game script here. It's going to be a pretty tight game, right? Like, we'll get into picks in regards to the games and spreads and totals, et cetera, but I think we're going to have a game script here where Joe Burrow is going to have to keep the foot on the gas pedal in the air. And if you look, all right, the last 7 games straight for Cincinnati, remember the season that Joe Mixon had? I mean, every week. He had a touchdown in 10 straight games, right? Rushing all over the place, right? He's gone for 70 rushing yards or fewer in 7 straight games. Their game script has completely changed to going in the air. I'm going with Joe Burrow over 38.5 pass attempts. Next, I am going with Cooper Kupp over 28.5 on his longest reception. You're going to get that number anywhere from -10, -115, somewhere there. Look, his yardage, I think it's all the way up to 101.5, maybe 102.5, depending on where you're at and the book you're looking at. That's a lot. I don't hate it, but it's a lot. But I do think that he's going over 28.5 for his longest reception because the Rams, they're going to come out with their not only on fire, but with their foot on the gas pedal and the offense that we've seen from them in the first half of games this postseason. Yeah, I like that one. I think it's going to cash pretty early. Next one, Deebo Samuel, longest reception over 21.5 yards. I understand that he's coming to this game banged up. That's why I don't want anything to do with his rushing yards. But his pass yards, especially specifically his longest, yeah, I'm taking that over 21.5. So that's what I got on my props. I've got another, you could call it a prop on the game that we'll break down. But what I want to do, Brian, before we get to our picks, I want to break down the games just really quickly, and we're going to mix our picks into it. But first, the Bengals and the Chiefs, right? Like just a high-level view, 10,000 feet in the air looking down, right? We've got a spread of 7. It's bouncing around 7.5, 7, with the Chiefs being a favorite, a total of 54.5. Just your thoughts on the game. What kind of game script do you see, and what plays do you have, whether it be spread or total?
Well, I going back to my prop on over 290.5 on Burrow's passing yards, I think they're going to be passing a lot regardless if it's a one-possession game. But, and you mentioned how Joe Mixon has not been as successful running the ball, which is probably partly due to some poor O-line play. Like we saw last week with them giving up 9 sacks. I know that's the passing game, a little different. But like the one scenario I don't see is Cincinnati like getting out to this huge lead and KC's offense getting blanked. That's the scenario I don't see. So I think that it's either a close game or Kansas City gets out to a nice lead. Either way, Burrow is going to be throwing the ball a lot, and I think that bodes well for the prop bet I suggested over 290.5, and it also coincides with my over pick that I'll explain more in the next segment.
I like it. Sorry, I messed with the mute button there. Look, what you were saying in regards to the game, if you look at the last 4 meaningful games, between these two teams, I know that the Bengals had, a week 18 game where, they rested everybody. It didn't really matter. The last 4 meaningful games, the Bengals are actually outscoring the Chiefs in the first half, right? It's pretty close, but it's about 2.5, 3 points. The Chiefs have about a 5.5 point difference in the second half of games in their last 4. So that said, I'm with you. Now, here's a couple stats, a couple nuggets here. The Chiefs have covered the spread in 6 straight at home. All right? 6 straight games involving the Chiefs have all hit the over and are averaging about 60.5 points total in those games.
7 straight on the over.
Yeah, 7 straight. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, you're right. No, 7 straight. Yeah. 60.5. Now, I understand that, the Bills-Chiefs going to move that up a little bit, but points are coming, both them scoring and them allowing. Also, if you look at the 2 Chiefs playoff games, played the Steelers, scored 42 points. Played the Bills, scored 42 points. They are a consistent football team right now, right? So I like the over. I'm not going to play it. I'm on Chiefs -7. And again, I go back to we've had 10 playoff games so far this year. All 10 teams that won the game covered the spread. Again, we've had 4 underdogs that went outright, so that's going to help it, but we still had 6 favorites. You go back the last 34 playoff games. The team that won the game covered in 31 of them. I'm not going to buck the trend. I like the Chiefs to win the game. I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover. All right, now. Yeah, go ahead.
One point, like you were talking about Kansas City's offense, scoring 42 the last 2 games. I mean, that was the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL and the number 1 in total defense in the NFL with Buffalo last week. And as for Pittsburgh, I mean, I know they had a pedestrian offense this year, but their defense wasn't to its standard, but they were number 9 in the NFL in pass defense. And, they got to the playoffs with a pedestrian offense, so that defense wasn't bad either, but it was more impressive against Buffalo's great defense last week.
Totally, right? Like, I agree with you. Like, they are not only putting up points, and it'd be one thing, speaking of Buffalo, all year it was tough to figure out which Buffalo team you're going to get. They'd show up one week, they'd score 50. Next week, they score 7 and lose to the Jaguars, right? Like, you didn't know what you're going to get. This Kansas City Chiefs team, the last 7 games, incredibly consistent. So yeah, I'm going to go. And again, I know that they played in week 17 and the Bengals won that game. This is going to be a different game. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. But if you're playing the over, I don't hate that either. All right, next game, 49ers at the Rams. Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers own the Rams. They've won, 6 straight, been dominating. And you look at what San Francisco's done. So, I mean, ending the season, I think their last 11 games now, they're 9-2 straight up. Like, they have been playing good football. The Titans being one of those two, that they lost. However, I'll go ahead and give you mine. The Rams are going to come out on fire in this game. We've seen it consistently with this team, especially in the playoffs. They've done the same thing. You want to talk about consistency? It's exactly who they are. They understand that points are what puts San Francisco out of this game because it changes the dynamic of their offense. They're not able to run the football as much as they'd like to. They have to play a faster tempo game. I'm going with the Rams, 3.5. I'm also going with the Rams first half -3. I'll tell you why. Over the last 4 games, San Francisco in the first half averaging 5 points total. 5. The Rams are averaging 17. Yeah. So I know that we've got -3 first half, 3.5 for the game. Not always kind of what you want there, but I trust that one there. I'm also going to add in one more. And here's the secret. Don't tell anybody. Von Miller has a sack in 6 straight games. He has the most pressures in the playoffs. Number 2, Aaron Donald. So I'm actually going to add 2. Von Miller's getting a sack, and Aaron Donald over 4.5 tackles and assists. Now, I know that, it's a little tougher to get to Jimmy G because they do run the football so much. But in a game script where Jimmy G has to put the ball in the air, yeah, I'm going to roll with those 2, have some fun. You might play it if you do half a unit. Like, you don't have to play it at a full unit. But those stats, those numbers, yeah. Last thing, and I'll throw it to you, Brian, and I'll quit yapping. The Los Angeles Rams have leveraged their entire draft future on this moment, this game, right here, right now. For 5 years straight, no first-round draft picks. They've traded them all away for this right here.
The next 5 years or a couple of those years already passed?
The next 5 years.
They don't have a first-round pick 5 years in a row starting with this upcoming draft.
All these trades that they've made.
Right.
All these trades. Jalen Ramsey, Matthew
Stafford, Beckham, and Ramsey.
Yeah.
Those 3 trades right there, or is there another one? I think
there might be another one. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I mean, they've leveraged it all for right now. All right? The 49ers want to win this game. The Rams have to win this game. And Matthew Stafford, their quarterback, it's now or never. Everything is coming down to the Rams. This is a blood-in-the-water game. I think that they blow the 49ers out. That's my personal opinion. I'm going with the Rams 3.5, going the Rams first half -3. What do you got?
Hey, before I get into my picks, I'm curious if you had heard about this because I had not, which is probably shame on me, but I heard this morning, I was listening to Mitch Moss and Paul Howard on VSiN's Follow the Money, and I did not realize how the 49er fans have been buying up all the tickets. And so you are aware of this? In the regular season finale, the 49er fans were so loud that Matthew Stafford at a home game was having to use a silent count. And apparently they've bought up the tickets again, and it could be like a 70% 49ers crowd.
According to Vivid Seats, right now it's like 62% San Francisco, which is crazy, right?
Wow.
And it's weird to think that the Rams have a home game, at their stadium at SoFi in the NFC Championship. And if they win, they have a home game in the Super Bowl, right? Like it's crazy. We've never seen that before. But you're right. Like San Francisco 49ers fans have been doing that. And 1, that's part of Los Angeles. But 2, I got to give 49ers fans credit. Like,
sure,
dude, they showed up in Green Bay. Like, they have been showing up consistently. Last nugget. I forgot about this. I'm glad you said that, and I'll throw it to you. Since 1978, teams that are playing their 3rd straight road game in the playoffs are 33% against the spread. 49ers are in that category. And we saw the Bucs do it, beat historicals last year. I don't think it's happening twice.
3rd straight in the playoff specific. Yeah, because this is actually their 4th road game in 4 weeks if we count that regular season finale, but not a long flight from LA to San Fran. So, yeah, despite, that stuff about the fans, I agree with Alan. I am on the Rams. Now, I got them at -3 at a -120 price early in the week. If it's 3.5 and you can't buy the half point to 3, it's a smaller opinion than the others. I've decided I like over 54 on Cincinnati, Kansas City, a little more so than the Bengals, just out of a healthy respect for, Arrowhead and Mahomes and that offense and the way they're going. So my biggest bet of the weekend is going to be over 54 on KC and Cincy. Like we mentioned earlier, 7 straight overs for Kansas City. And during that stretch of 7 consecutive overs, excuse me, Patrick Mahomes has a 20-2 TDINT ratio in those 7 games. And in Cincinnati's last 7 games, Joe Burrow has a 13-1 TDINT ratio. So we've got 2 very elite quarterbacks, and we got a Kansas City secondary that's struggling, and they just played, a few weeks back, and they had 65 combined points in the Cincinnati 34-31 win, excuse me. And I'm also on the Bengals at plus 7.5. They are 6-3 straight up, 7-2 against the spread in 9 road games. They've been underdogs 10 times, and they are 7-3 against the spread with 6 outright wins. They have covered 6 straight games, winning outright in 5 of them. The only exception, the regular season finale, and I'm pretty sure, I want to say I wasn't watching that game, but I think they rested some guys, or at least a part of that game. And don't you think the Honey Badger is going to play? It sounds like it's trending in that direction.
He was out at practice yesterday. I don't know, to what extent, but yeah, he was out there. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be there.
Yeah. So that will be key for Kansas City. But so I like the over the most on KC Cincy. I'm on the Bengals out of my belief in Joey Burrow. And then I'm on the Rams, but that's a smaller opinion, especially at 3.5. So there we go.
You want to know another nugget?
Always.
Don't tell anybody this either. The last 23 NFC Championship games, where it's been 3.5 points or less on the spread, the favorite covered 22 of them.
Wow.
Yep. So there you go.
Wow.
Now,
no, that is a good nugget.
Yeah. Now we'll see. So we got our picks out there. Everything covered for the NFL. Brian, talk to me about basketball. All right.
Let's do it.
So let me say this. I'm on the Grizz tonight, -4 at home. But that's all I'm going to say. You are the guru. I throw it to you. NBA and college basketball. What do we need to know tonight? What do we need to know about this weekend?
Well, I am with Alan, and fortunately, I got Memphis this morning at -4. Unfortunately, for our listeners that want to tail us, it was up to 5.5 at last look, but I still like it. The Grizz are on fire. They're 14-3 straight up and 13-4 against the spread in their last 17, going back to December 26th. And, the biggest part of this handicap, well, 2 things. One, well, they kind of coincide with each other, because I don't know exactly how many games Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert have missed, but those are their 2 best players, 2 all-stars. They're both out tonight. Now, Mitchell's getting very close to coming back, but he's not going to play tonight. He averages 25.5 points, 5.2 assists per game. Gobert averages 16.0 points, 15.1 rebounds, 2.3 block shots per game. And I don't think that they've been out throughout this slump, but right now, Utah is 2-9 straight up and 2-8-1 against the spread in its last 11 games. So they're obviously struggling. Memphis is thriving. Utah's missing its 2 best players. Me and Alan got Memphis -4 this morning. I think you're probably in good shape at 5 or 5.5, though. I'm also going to go with the Bulls at around Pick'em. You might be able to get a +1 at San Antonio. The Bulls are 30-17 straight up overall, and 27-19-1 against the spread, whereas San Antonio is 18-31 straight up, 25-24 against the spread. The Bulls had a little rough patch. They've been kind of missing some players, but they've gotten a few guys back. Now they're still missing Lonzo Ball and a couple of bench guys, but Levine is back, and their top 3 or 4 players are all going tonight, and they should not be pick 'em or slight underdogs to the Spurs, who are only 9-16 straight up at home. And the Spurs have lost 9 of their last 12 games and only gone 4-8 against the spread. So better team. Let's go with the Bulls. Now, I don't like the Hawks as much as I liked them this morning because DeAndre Hunter and Danilo Gallinari, after the shoot-around, were deemed as questionable. And I think Hunter is especially important because he's Atlanta's best perimeter defender, and they're playing Boston tonight with two of the best scoring guards in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But I already bet it, so I'm stuck with it. And if Hunter gets upgraded, then I'm obviously thumbs up, all in on it. The Hawks have won 5 in a row, finally, belatedly, but there's time. They've won 5 in a row, but straight up and against the spread. Their last 2 wins have been by 39 combined points. And for the first time on Wednesday, they had every single player available on the roster for the first time, not only all season and not only all last season, since January 3rd of 2020. That was the first time Wednesday night in a 121-104 win over Sacramento that the Hawks had their entire roster. I hope they'll have the entire roster tonight. Hopefully Gallinari and Hunter will be good to go. I've already bet them. As long as Hunter's good to go, I like it. Atlanta, and they're down to -1. I bet it at -1.5. So those are my 3 NBA plays. Great college tomorrow. If you're going to bet Kentucky tomorrow at Kansas, beware Ty Washington, one of their best players, is questionable with an ankle injury. And we got the Vols at Texas. That's going to be a great game tomorrow. And really going to have all day college basketball, SEC Big 12, whatever they call it. But it's SEC Big 12 matchups all day. And I will be at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi watching it all at the Tap, their sports bar. And I'm sure I'll be tweeting in-game recommendations. So check that out if you wish.
That's going to be fun, man. Biloxi's a good time.
Yeah, I'm hitting the road like in the next hour.
Nice, man. Nice. All right. I'll tell you what. We're at our last segment here. All right. Your parlay of the weekend. And I want you to go first because I actually have 2. That's how much I love this weekend in the NFL. I'm telling you, there is money to be made this weekend. Go ahead.
Okay. I will go with Rams money line, not the -3.5. And I will also go with over 54 in Kansas City, Cincinnati. And we're just going to keep it simple with that. I'm not sure the price. I would guess it'll be at least plus 180, right?
Yeah.
I would think. Maybe plus 200. I'm not positive it'd be plus 200. So, yeah, just Rams to win outright and over 54 KC Cincy.
Nice. All right. First one, plus 580. Rams -3.5. Stafford over 277.5 passing yards. Rams kicker Matt Gay over 1.5 field goals. All right. That's the first one. 580. Rams 3.5. Stafford over 277.5. Matt Gay over 1.5. The next one, kind of similar. You could tell where I'm going with this. You could tell how comfortable I feel with this team. Plus 400. Rams money line. Cooper Kupp, longest reception, over 28.5. Again, Matt Gay over 1.5 field goals. I'm hitting both of them. I think both smash. I think the Rams smash. I'm fired up. All right, Brian, I know you got to hit the road. Again, thank you everybody so much for tuning in and bearing with me being a little bit late and causing the show to be late. I apologize, but you guys are the absolute best. Thank you for that. Brian, any final parting thoughts that you might have for this weekend?
Well, our guy Anthony Malley is saying to look to bet Bama. I don't disagree that I think Bama will they had that horrible look ahead and no show against Georgia. I don't disagree that they will be fired up for this one. Look, they've come to play against the heavy hitters. They've kind of played to their competition, which is a bad thing, but they won in Seattle against Gonzaga. They beat Houston, one of the best teams in the country, at home. I do think Alabama will come to play, but I hear you, Anthony, but I mean, I probably wouldn't do it unless I'm getting 4 or 5. And he just mentioned, because I did see that tweet earlier, there is an injury. I'm going to the fantasy college page right now. Where am I? Doggone it. I wanted to get the details for that, and I can get it real quick. Let's see. Where is it? Sorry, y'all. Okay, yeah. Jawan Gary is going to return, but Darius Miles is out for Bama. So they will be missing him. And thus, just now seeing this, the Gators will again not only be without Colin Castleton, but also the backup center, Jason Jatobo. And when he left the game the other night, that was a big deal. Florida doesn't really have any interior defense with both of their big men out. So that will bode well for Oklahoma State.
There we go. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Seriously, thank you to A to Z Sports. Thank you to BetMGM. Make sure new users download that app. Use promo code A to Z 200. That is A to Z 200. $10 money line wager, $200 free credit if a three-pointer is hit tonight. So you know what? It's cash for tickets this weekend. We'll see everybody Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central. And I promise we will be on time for that one. Thank you so much.
Good luck, everybody.